If you're asking how long it takes a dismissive avoidant woman to miss you, here's the honest answer. Typically anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. But here's what nobody tells you. That timeline is almost meaningless unless you understand what's actually happening in her mind during those weeks. Because there are 4 stages she goes through, and what happens in the final stage will determine whether her missing you means anything at all. Let me show you exactly what's happening at each phase. Let me be clear from the start. If you're expecting a dismissive avoidant woman to miss you the day after breakup, or even a week after, you're going to be disappointed. That's just not how their psychology works. But before you think the answer is just wait for 12 weeks, you need to understand something critical. What she experiences during that time is a straight line from not missing you to missing you. It's 4 distinct stages. And what happens in each stage is going to completely change whether that timeline even matters. Because here's the strange part. She can reach week 10, fully miss you, and still do absolutely nothing about it. So the real question isn't just, when will she miss me? It's, what's preventing her from missing me right now, and what has to break down before she can? Let's start with what happens immediately after you're gone, because this is going to feel like the opposite of missing you. Stage 1 begins the moment the relationship ends, and typically lasts about 2 weeks. And here's what you need to prepare yourself for. She's not sad. She's not longing for you. She's not crying into her pillow at night. She's experiencing relief. This is the phase where she feels like she can finally breathe. The pressure of the relationship is gone. Your expectations are gone. The emotional demands that made her feel suffocated, all gone. She's back in her comfort zone of complete independence, and honestly, it feels good to her. You might see her on social media, looking perfectly fine, maybe even thriving, going out with friends, posting about her life, looking completely unbothered. And here's what hurts the most. She's not faking it. She genuinely feels okay right now. But here's your first reward. Here's what that relief actually means. Dismissive avoidants only feel relief when they escape something that was making them emotionally vulnerable. If the relationship meant nothing, she wouldn't feel relief. She'd feel nothing at all. So the fact that she's experiencing relief is actually proof that you got close enough to threaten her defenses. The intensity of her relief is proportional to how much the relationship actually mattered. But now here's what you're probably wondering. If she feels this relieved, does that mean she'll never miss me? And that question brings us to something that starts happening around week 2 or 3. Something she doesn't expect, because the relief doesn't last. And what replaces it is going to confuse her. Stage 2 typically runs from week 2 to week 4, and this is where you think she starts missing you. But she doesn't. Not yet. Instead, she experiences something more subtle. Little cracks in her system. Here's what this looks like. Maybe it's a Sunday morning and she's drinking coffee alone, and for just a split second, she notices your absence. Maybe something funny happens and she instinctively reaches for her phone to text you, then remembers she can't. Maybe she hears a song you both liked, drives past a place you went together, sees someone who reminds her of you. These aren't full emotional moments. They're just glitches, moments where the routine is interrupted and your absence becomes visible. But here's the key. She's still not missing you. She's noticing patterns have changed, and there's a huge difference. Now watch what she does with those feelings, because this reveals everything about her defensive system. She intellectualizes them. She'll tell herself, I'm just used to the routine. Or, it's normal to notice changes after a breakup. Or, this is just an adjustment period, it'll pass. She's explaining away the feelings rather than actually feeling them. She's treating emotional responses like problems to be solved with logic. And here's the reward for understanding this stage. This is why she might reach out during week 2, 3, or 4, but not because she misses you. You might get a casual text. She might like an old photo. She might ask a mutual friend how you're doing. And you're going to want to interpret this as a sign she's coming back. But here's what's really happening. She's not checking if she misses you. She's checking if you still miss her. She's making sure the dynamic is still intact, that she's still in control, that you're still the one who needs more. And if you respond eagerly, if you give that confirmation, something fascinating happens. The relief from stage 1 comes rushing back, because now she knows she still has the power, and those little glitches in her system disappear. But if you don't respond, if you stay genuinely detached, then something inside her system starts to escalate. And that's what brings us to stage 3. Stage 3 typically happens between week 4 and week 8. And this is where she might actually start missing you. But here's what's strange. It doesn't feel like missing someone. Not to her. It feels like confusion. Because dismissive avoidants don't experience missing someone the way most people do. When an anxious person misses someone, it's immediate and overwhelming. But when a dismissive avoidant starts missing you, she just keeps thinking about you and can't figure out why. It shows up as intrusive thoughts. She'll be working and suddenly think about you. She'll be with friends and notice she's comparing them to you. She'll be trying to sleep and memories will just appear uninvited. And here's what makes this stage so psychologically interesting. She's irritated by it. She doesn't think, "Oh, I miss him." She thinks, "Why do I keep thinking about him?" Like her own mind is malfunctioning. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Her defenses are starting to fail. The relief from stage 1 is completely gone. The logical explanations from stage 2, "I'm just adjusting," they're not working anymore. The feelings are persisting past the point where they should have disappeared. And this creates a massive problem for her self-concept. Remember, her entire identity is built on not needing people. So when she can't stop thinking about you, when the absence keeps bothering her, it directly challenges the story she tells herself about who she is. Now here's your reward. This is a stage where her behavior becomes most revealing. And you need to watch carefully, because what she does now tells you everything about her level of self-awareness. Some dismissive avoidants will reach out during this phase, but not with vulnerability. They'll manufacture excuses. "I found something of yours. I need to ask you about random topic. I was thinking about that time They're creating plausible reasons for contact that don't require admitting they miss you. Others do the exact opposite. They double down on avoidance. They'll block you, delete photos, try to erase all evidence you existed. And this isn't because they don't care. It's because they care too much and they're trying to manage it the only way they know how. By removing the reminders, they think they can remove the feelings. But here's what you're really wondering now. If she's thinking about me constantly, if she's feeling my absence, does that mean she's ready to come back? And that question, that's what brings us to the most critical stage, the one that determines everything. Stage 4 typically begins around week 8 and can extend past week 12. And this is the crisis point. By now, it's not just thoughts anymore. It's become a persistent feeling she cannot intellectualize away. She's tried distraction, didn't work. She's tried logic, didn't work. She might have even tried dating someone new, and that made it worse because she just compared them to you the whole time. At this point, she's facing something she spent her entire life avoiding: genuine emotional need. And here's where the timeline becomes completely unpredictable, because what happens next depends entirely on something most people never consider: her level of self-awareness. If she has low self-awareness, she'll misinterpret what she's feeling. She might decide you were the one that got away. She might romanticize the relationship now that's safely in the past. She might even reach out with intensity, dramatic confessions, emotional messages, promises that things will be different. But here's the critical part. She still won't be willing to actually change. This is a dismissive avoidant who comes back, feels relief once she has you again, then starts pulling away within weeks. Because she wasn't actually missing you. She was uncomfortable with the unfamiliar feeling of emotional need, and getting you back makes that discomfort go away once the discomfort is gone. So is her motivation to be close. But if she has high self-awareness, if she's been in therapy, if she's genuinely done work on her attachment patterns, this crisis point can lead to something real. She might reach out with actual vulnerability, might name her patterns out loud, might admit she was wrong, and not just blame timing or circumstances. And here's how you tell the difference. This is crucial. A low self-awareness dismissive avoidant will externalize everything. "We met at the wrong time. I wasn't ready then. Things are different now." Notice, she's not taking responsibility for her patterns. She's blaming circumstances. A high self-awareness dismissive avoidant will name the internal issue. "I have an avoidant attachment style. I ran from intimacy because I was scared. I'm working on this in therapy. She's taking ownership of her psychology, not just her feelings. Now we arrive at the climax, the real answer to why this timeline works the way it does. The reason it takes 4 to 12 weeks for a dismissive avoidant to miss you isn't arbitrary. It's because missing someone requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires a complete breakdown of defensive structures. Here's what was actually happening across all 4 stages. Stage 1 was relief. Her defenses successfully doing their job. Stage 2 was cognitive dissonance, the first cracks in the defense system. Stage 3 was persistent awareness. The defense is failing to suppress what she's feeling. Stage 4 is complete defensive failure. The walls have crumbled, and now she faces a choice. Will she rebuild those walls, or will she finally deal with what's underneath? And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Most dismissive avoidants rebuild the walls. They'll miss you intensely for a few weeks, feel uncomfortable, then eventually rationalize the feelings away or redirect them somewhere safer. It wasn't meant to be. I'm better off focusing on my career. I don't have time for a relationship anyway. The feelings get reframed, the walls go back up, and the timeline resets. This is why the timeline actually matters less than you think. Because even at week 12, even when she's fully feeling your absence, even when she's in crisis stage, she still might choose her defense mechanisms over the vulnerability required for real connection. The timeline tells you when the feelings might arrive. It doesn't tell you whether she has the courage to do anything healthy with those feelings. So here's what this means for you, and this is a closure you need to hear. If you're waiting for her to miss you, so she'll come back, understand that missing you doesn't automatically mean she's capable of showing up differently. The timeline tells you when awareness might hit, not whether transformation will follow. If you're in no contact, hoping time will change things, know this. Time alone doesn't create change. Self-awareness does. She could miss you desperately at week 10 and still be completely incapable of intimacy. And if you're trying to move on but wondering if she'll ever realize what she lost, the honest answer is probably yes, somewhere between 4 to 12 weeks. But realization and change are not the same thing. Here's the question you should actually be asking. Even if she misses me, will she be capable of being different? Because a dismissive avoidant who misses you but hasn't done deep psychological work will just recreate the exact same painful dynamic. The timeline of when she misses you is irrelevant if the underlying psychology hasn't changed. And here's the final truth. By the time she's actually capable of missing you in a way that leads to real change, you should be far enough along in your own healing that whether she misses you or not no longer determines your worth or your future. That's the timeline. That's what happens in each stage. And that's the truth about what it actually means when a dismissive avoidant finally misses you.